His dangerous obsession, a dark love story. Love isn't always gentle, and sometimes it burns. Some stories aren't about fairy tales. They're about scars, secrets, and the kind of love that changes you forever. Welcome to the Simyist Library. Today's story will pull you into a world where desire meets danger, and innocence faces temptation. Don't skip, because once you enter his world, there's no turning back. Chapter 1. The Mysterious CEO. The office was silent except for the sound of clicking heels on the marble floor. Maya held her resume tightly, her palms slightly sweaty. It was her first day as an intern at Greystone Industries, one of the biggest companies in the city. Everyone said their CEO was different, cold, powerful, and impossible to please. But Maya didn't believe rumors until she saw him. The elevator doors opened and he walked out. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a black suit that screamed authority. His eyes, sharp, deep, and unreadable, landed on her for a second, making her heart skip a beat. "You're late," his voice was calm but firm. I'm sorry, sir, the traffic—" "Excuses don't work here, miss." He glanced at her file. Maya Singh. His tone was cold, but the way his gaze lingered made her nervous. Something about him felt dangerous. Not because of his power, but because of the way he looked at her, as if he already knew he'd own her someday. She followed him to his office, the air between them tense. The walls were glass, the city glittered behind him like a silent witness. "You'll work directly under me," he said, not looking up from his laptop. "Yes, sir." "Don't call me sir," he said slowly, raising his eyes. "Then what should I call you?" He leaned back in his chair, a faint smile on his lips. "Mr. Adrian Gray will do." Her heart raced. There was something magnetic about him, something she couldn't explain. And as he handed her a stack of files, his fingers brushed hers, sending an unexpected shiver down her spine. She didn't know that moment would change everything, that behind Adrian's cold eyes hid secrets darker than she could ever imagine, and that soon, she would be the center of his dangerous obsession. Chapter 2. The Contract of Desire. The next morning, Maya entered the office early. She didn't want to make the same mistake again. But even before 9 a.m., Adrian was already there, standing near the window watching the city below like a king observing his kingdom. "You're learning," he said without turning around. "Good morning, Mr. Gray," she replied softly. He finally looked at her, his expression unreadable. "Sit down." Maya sat across from him, clutching her notepad. Adrian's gaze was steady, too steady, as if he could see every thought in her head. "You're different, Miss Singh," he said. "Different?" She frowned. "Most interns here try to impress me. You, on the other hand, look terrified." "Maybe, because you're a little intimidating," she admitted honestly. A small smirk appeared on his face, and the kind that didn't reach his eyes. "Good, fear keeps people loyal." For a moment, silence filled the room. Then he pushed a folder toward her. "Read this carefully." She opened it and froze. It wasn't a work file. It was a confidential agreement, a personal one. Her eyes widened as she read the first line. "This contract establishes a private understanding between Adrian Gray and Maya Singh." Her voice trembled. This isn't part of my internship, is it?" "No," he said calmly, standing up and walking closer. "It's an offer, one that could change your life if you say yes." "But why me?" she whispered. "Because you don't know your own power yet," he said, his tone low and dangerous. "And I intend to show it to you my way." Maya's breath caught as he leaned closer, his presence almost overwhelming. "You can walk away now," he murmured, "or sign it and step into my world." Her heart pounded painfully. Something inside her said to run, but another part whispered to stay. Because deep down, she wanted to understand the man behind that darkness. She looked up, meeting his piercing eyes. "What happens if I sign it?" He smiled faintly. "Then, Miss Singh, your life will no longer belong to you." Chapter 3. Her heart versus his control. Days turned into weeks. Maya hadn't signed the contract yet, but she hadn't walked away either. Every day with Adrian felt like a silent battle between her heart and her mind. He never forced her to decide, yet his presence surrounded her like air, impossible to escape. One evening the office was empty. Rain tapped gently on the glass windows, and Maya was finishing some reports when the door opened.
"Still here?"
Adrian's deep voice filled the room. "Yes, I wanted to complete this before leaving." "You work too hard for someone unpaid," he said, walking closer. I want to prove myself. To me? He asked quietly. Maya looked up, startled. His eyes were softer tonight and tired, almost human. Maybe, she whispered. Adrian studied her face in silence. Then, without warning, he reached out and tucked a loose strand of her hair behind her ear. The small touch sent a shiver down her spine. You should go home, he said, his voice lower now. It's raining, she murmured. Then stay, he said simply. Her heartbeat quickened. You don't have to play games with me, Mr. Gray. I don't play games, Maya, I control outcomes. She took a step back. And what if I don't want to be controlled? He smiled faintly, not cruel, just sad. Then you'll be the first person to ever say that to me. For the first time, she saw a flash of something real behind his coldness, pain. He turned away, staring at the rain outside. Everyone I cared for, he said slowly, left. So I learned to keep control. It's the only way to not lose again. Maya's heart softened. In that moment, she realized he wasn't just powerful. He was broken. And part of her wanted to fix him, even if it meant losing herself. She took a hesitant step closer. Maybe some things aren't meant to be controlled, Adrian. He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time his eyes weren't cold. Careful, Maya, he whispered. The closer you get, the harder it will be to leave. She smiled sadly. Maybe I don't want to leave. And as thunder roared outside, he reached for her hand. It wasn't a command this time, it was a connection. But deep down, both of them knew this love would come with a price. Chapter 4. The Pain of Love. Maya had stopped counting the days. Working under Adrian had become more than just a job. It was a feeling she couldn't explain. Every look, every word, every silence between them carried weight. But lately, something had changed. Adrian had grown distant. He no longer met her eyes the same way, and his voice, once warm and teasing, had turned cold again. One afternoon she finally asked, Did I do something wrong? She whispered. No. Then why are you avoiding me? Because I should, he said sharply. Maya frowned. What does that even mean? He looked at her, frustration flashing in his eyes. You don't understand, Maya. The closer you get to me, the more you'll get hurt. You don't get to decide what hurts me, she snapped back. Her voice shook, not from anger, but from the fear of losing him. I care about you, Adrian, isn't that enough? No, he said bitterly. Because my world doesn't allow love, only control, only damage. He turned away, running a hand through his hair, the mask of power cracking for a second. Maya walked closer, refusing to stop. Then why did you pull me into it? Because I was weak, he admitted quietly. And you made me feel something I wasn't supposed to feel again. Silence. Only the sound of their hearts breaking at the same time. If this hurts you so much, she whispered, why not just let me go? Because I can't, he said, his voice trembling for the first time. You became my weakness, Maya, and that's dangerous for both of us. Tears filled her eyes as she realized the truth. Love wasn't soft here. It was sharp, it cut. You think pushing me away will protect me? She asked. It's the only way I know how, he whispered. Before she could speak, he walked past her, leaving her alone in his office, surrounded by silence, power, and pain. And that night, for the first time, Maya cried not because he had hurt her, but because she understood why he did. Chapter 5. When darkness turns to love. 3 days passed. Maya didn't go to the office. She needed space, not from the work, but from him. From the chaos his presence brought to her heart. But Adrian felt every second of her absence. He told himself it was for the best and that she deserved peace. But every night his thoughts betrayed him. Every silence reminded him of her voice, her laugh, her stubbornness. On the 4th evening, it started raining again, and he finally broke. He drove through the city, the sound of thunder matching the storm inside him. When he reached her apartment, she was standing by the window, lost in thought. The look on her face, soft, tired, and hurt, shattered him completely. You shouldn't be here, she said quietly. I know, he replied. Then why are you? Because I can't stay away anymore. He took a step closer, his voice raw. I spent years controlling everything around me, but the truth is I couldn't even control what I felt for you. Maya looked at him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. You hurt me, Adrian. I know, and I hate myself for it. He paused, struggling to breathe through the weight of his own emotions. I thought love was weakness, but you You made me realize it's the only thing that ever made me human." She didn't move, and then slowly he reached for her hand, not with power but with fear that she might pull away. "No more contracts," he whispered. "No more control, just you and me, if you'll still have me." Maya's heart softened. All the pain, all the distance, it suddenly made sense. He wasn't trying to own her, he was just trying not to lose himself. She stepped closer and placed her hand on his cheek. "Love doesn't need control, Adrian, it needs courage." And for the first time he smiled. A real, broken, beautiful smile. The rain poured outside as he pulled her gently into his arms. No power, no darkness, just two souls that finally stopped fighting each other. That night his world, once built on control, and he finally found peace in love. And Maya realized, sometimes the most dangerous hearts are the ones that love the deepest. That was the end of Book 1, his dangerous obsession. But their story isn't over yet, because sometimes love returns darker than before. If you want to hear Book 2, The CEO's Redemption, don't forget to subscribe to the Simyist library and turn on the bell icon.